What you making?
Paleo soul food. Fried chicken with no batter. So just, yeah, fried chicken. And I got some collard greens. This over here. This is a squash. Look at that crispy crispness.
How many meals have you cooked inside this season?
I've cooked maybe 5 meals inside this year.
Yeah. We like to cook outside because of the view. Number one, the atmosphere is great.
Yeah.
But also because it saves us from having to cool down our then heated RV.
That, and I don't have to clean up the, the mess that I make, because I'm such a messy cook. I mean,
Yeah.
Every once in a while I have to clean this, but you don't make me wash it down every night.
Yeah, and you're using cast iron, so
Yeah.
it's supposed to stay with some oil on it anyway.
Also, there's not like great ventilation in an RV, so cooking is just kind of like, it's easy to get smoky in there, especially if you're making fried chicken.
Set the fire alarm off again.
Seriously.
This is our pond. This is my favorite part of our entire property. It was the final thing that really sold us on it when we saw it and led us to making an offer on it. It's just so special. We didn't see any other pieces of property with anything like this. And we saw so much potential for it and ways that we could help it to heal and to kind of clean up some of the logs and the sticks that have fallen in it from some forestry practices, we think, like many years ago. And yeah, we just fell in love with the property when we saw the pond. I like to come down here to be alone and to just be quiet and listen to all of the beautiful sounds out here. You can hear the water trickling behind me that's flowing out of the pond. You can hear bugs and birds and frogs croaking. It's just a very magical spot on our land for me. And there are a couple interesting features about our pond. The first is that it's actually here because of a dam, which you can see behind me. So we have a male beaver who created this pond for us, which we are so grateful for. And we know from satellite images that we've looked up online that he's been here for about 8 years. The other really interesting feature about our pond is that it is partially snow melt from the mountains nearby that feed into it, and then partially spring fed. So we actually have water seeping up from the ground, that there's like a wetlands area over here, and it drains into the pond. So it's very, very clean and cold, which is perfect for cold plunges, which I have recently started to really enjoy, and Jerem has been enjoying them for much longer than I have. He's actually gotten in the pond a few times already this summer, but I was just a little uneasy because of all of the sticks in it. It's hard to see where you're stepping, and I didn't want to like hurt myself and get cut by some of the sticks. So we're excited, like I said, to take on the task of cleaning up the pond and also creating some features around the edges to prevent erosion. So we would love to plant trees around the edges once we pull out some of these old kind of dying logs and chip them up with a wood chipper. But you have to be intentional around what kind of trees you plant if you have a beaver, because beavers eat wood. So, for example, we would not want to plant willow because beavers love to eat willow. So we will do some research and figure out which trees would be best to plant for preventing erosion, that also really like water, because this will be a very wet area, and that beavers don't like. So it has to meet those 3 factors. So yeah, I'm excited to just continue coming down here and being with the pond and seeing it as it evolves over time, and taking on the project that I mentioned probably in a few years. We have a lot of other priorities that we want to tackle, like starting all of our garden beds and getting those established, things that are going to produce or preserve food before we take on the pond. So more to come with that in the future. But for now, it's really nice to just enjoy. Colder weather came very quickly this year, which has been beautiful to witness, but has also come with some challenges for us, especially living in our RV. The Pacific Northwest is the place we chose to dig our roots, and that was partially due to the weather. We very much experience all 4 seasons, which Jerem and I love and enjoy feeling into rather than wishing for the sun to come back. It's such a nice time to slow down and cozy up inside under a blanket together. But with the warmer temperatures extending late into the season this year, and then quickly changing to cold and wet, we weren't as prepared for it mentally or physically. Carrying our laundry to the car to go to our local laundromat is more of a task when it's pouring rain. Then we had to get gravel on the grass so that the septic truck could come in to pump our black tanks without sinking into the mud. And we also had some leaks in our RV. Apparently, this is very common with fifth wheels and their slide outs. Again, not something we really planned for. All of that to say, we are figuring out this new lifestyle and enjoy being very deeply connected to the changing seasons. While we're excited to be in our new home not on wheels, when that is still not certain. We wouldn't have it any other way though. Both Jerem and I have said to each other that we couldn't ever see ourselves wanting to move back into a city after living out here with so much peace and nature right outside of our door. We're learning to live with uncertainty, and I think that's an important lesson I know that I can learn and apply to the rest of my life.
What are you thinking, miss? Are you ready for winter?
Good morning! So, as you can see on the ground behind me, we had our first hard frost this morning, and I didn't really know what that meant, to be honest, until I started really paying attention the last couple of years, but this year for sure. So if you grow a lot of your own food, the first and last frost dates in your area are really important. And that is if you get frost, if you don't live in a tropical climate, because it depicts when like your fragile garden or vegetable plants probably will die, and when you can plant in the ground in the spring. So we have records of these, but they're by like large general areas like cities or regions. So I am doing my best to take a really detailed garden journal, and I've been doing it ever since we bought the land in April. So yeah, I'm excited to write down, like, this is our first hard frost. And it can vary, it will vary year to year, but typically they have like a estimated frost date. And ours is actually pretty late, compared to like what statistically they say it has a high probability of being. So yeah, I'm excited to write it down, and just will be interesting to see what it is next year and the year after, and yeah, help me plan my garden more effectively.
Pretty good.